Bonjour, welcome or welcome back to French Action with another video. My name is Jenny. In a previous video on the CEFR, the Common European Framework of References for Languages, I showed you the differences between the 6 levels, as you can see on the ladder here. The level we are dealing with today is the very first one, the A1. If you have recently started French, you may want to consider taking the DELF A1 examination. I will explain to you what you need to do to pass this exam. Let's dive into it. C'est parti! The DELF stands for the Diplôme d'études en langue française. So you're going to ask me, why take the DELF A1 examination? Well, preparing for an exam is a great way of keeping the motivation going, and passing it will give you great satisfaction and you will be able to add it to your CV. So why not take the DELF A1 examination? The DELF is rewarded by the French government through a national institution called the CIEP, which was created in 1945. CIEP stands for Centre International d'Études Pédagogiques, which is in English, French International Center of Pedagogical Studies. The CIEP was recently rebranded as France Éducation Internationale, and the aim is to promote French all around the world. Who is it for? It's for non-native French people. If you are under 18, you can actually take this exam, and it will be called Scolaire Junior. If you are over 18, then it will be for adults, and it will be called Tout Public. Now, the difference between Scolaire Junior and Tout Public really rests on the environment they will be dealing with. For example, young people will be talking about school, whereas adults will be talking about work. Where can I take this exam? You can take it at the Alliance Française in your country or any approved center. And if you are not sure where to take this exam, I would advise you to check France Éducation Internationale's website, and they will show you all the approved examination centers outside France. DELF A1 has 3 particular features. First of all, it is set in the target language. So there is nothing in English, not even the instructions. So you may be interested to know that first. The second thing is the authentic dialogues. You will need to work with authentic dialogues at all times because you will hear French natives, and it may be worrying at first, but what you will need to do in the exam is feasible because they don't expect you to understand everything and to understand the whole story, but they just need to know that you can understand, so, for example, the time or a reference, something like that. And the last feature is the boxes to tick. This exam has multiple choice questions, so there will be boxes to tick, but you will need to learn how to do it the French way, which is like this. Yes, a cross in the box. This is the A1 structure. So the exam is in 4 parts. First, you have the listening comprehension, which is 20 minutes. Then the reading comprehension, which is 30 minutes. The writing, which is also 30 minutes. And finally, the oral with an examiner, which would last around 5 to 7 minutes with a 10-minute preparation. And this part is in 3 sections. But we'll look at it a bit later in the video. So each paper is graded out of 25. To actually pass the exam, you need to have 50% just to pass. But you also need to pass each paper. And to pass each paper, you need to have a minimum of 5 points out of 25. So what do we need to know for A1? Well, as you know, the focus is on introducing oneself. So you need to be able to talk about yourself, sports, being able to fill in simple forms to say what you like and dislike. You should be able to write a postcard or a short letter around between 40 and 60 words. You should be able to go shopping and ask for items and pay for them. And of course, you need to be able to ask for prices. So what do you need to learn? Your alphabet, of course, because you need to be able to spell words. For example, your own name. And you need to be able to understand flight numbers, references. But not just alphabet, of course, greetings, because you need to use the right greetings according to the time of the day. And with the DELF, culture is very important. The cultural aspect is always part of the examination. You will need to look at numbers because you will need to say your age, to understand and ask for prices, maybe recognize or say phone numbers, to understand or say flight numbers, references, to tell and recognize the time using the 12-hour and the 24-hour clock. Days and month, for example, because you need to be able to recognize the days and month, say and write, understand dates, and make an appointment, for example. Let's look at the topics, quite a few. Work, studies, of course, school, if you are under 18. Cinema, restaurant, cafe, theaters, shops, and you need to look at professions like doctors, going to the hairdressers, going to the doctors. So that would include as well parts of the body. Colors, you need to be able to describe, for example, clothes with the colors, and fruits and vegetables. Means of transportation, being able to go to an airport, train station, underground, and also maybe get some information from a hotel, for example. At this level, you are expected to make simple sentences in the present tense, immediate future, and I do say immediate future. Imperative, for example, if you are asked to give directions, for example, you need to be able to use nouns with their adjectives, some prepositions. And of course, when I say all this, it goes without saying that you need to know your articles, like the or an or a, partitive articles, some, possessive adjectives, my, your, or demonstrative adjectives, these, this, and these. Just to give you an idea of what a listening comprehension could look like. So it says here, Solange vous invite à prendre le petit déjeuner, le déjeuner, le dîner. So you will have to tick one of the boxes. And then, quel jour est le rendez-vous? So in the text or the dialogue you will be hearing, you're going to have to put a day. So that is just to give you an idea of what is required for listening, for example. Do you remember that I told you about the importance of knowing the numbers? Then, of course, here we have à quelle heure est le rendez-vous? So you have 3 times and you have to choose one. Qu'est-ce que vous devez apporter? What do you have to bring? So this is just to give you an idea of what the listening can be. Just to show you how important the alphabet and the numbers are, here the question is, quel est le numéro de vol? What's the flight number? And you have 3 possibilities and you have to check one. So here you have to be careful because you have AF 335, AR 315, AS 305, very, very close. So you will have to really work on your numbers and your letters to be able to do something like this. À quelle heure est le vol? At what time is the flight? So again, an idea of what you could get. So I would advise you to know quel jour, à quelle heure, où, qu'est-ce que for the listening comprehension, and of course as well for the oral. I'm just going to give you an idea of a reading paper. So I'm going to read it. Bonjour, je recherche une personne pour garder mes enfants de 1 et 7 ans. Il faut être disponible pour travailler les jeudis, les vendredis et samedis soirs après 17 heures. Vous devez habiter dans le centre de Limoges ou avoir une voiture. Tarif 45 € pour une soirée. Expérience avec les enfants souhaitée. Si vous êtes intéressé, appelez-moi au 06 38 46 27 11. The writing is in 2 parts. You have one form to fill in, to complete in French. And the second part is basically a letter like this one, where you have to write a letter to your French friend to invite him to your country during the holiday. And you're going to talk about activities that you could do together. And that is 40 words minimum. As I had said before, the oral is in 3 parts. The first part starts with I would say, question and answers. So the examiner is really asking questions about yourself, and you need to know words when, where, how much, why, and because, those kind of words in French. What is interesting for the oral is that there are 2 examiners. Okay, you have the one who is going to have an interaction with you, and next to that examiner there will be another one who will be taking notes, because it's not easy to take notes whilst talking to you. Okay, so that's how it is done. For the second part is basically words which are on those cards, and obviously it's in French, and you will need to use those words to ask questions to the examiner. So at the beginning is the examiner asking you questions to find out about yourself, and the second part is the other way around. And the last part is really a role play. So you have some instructions here. They say you are in France and you want to buy some clothes for your family. So you go to a shop and you ask questions regarding the prices, the sizes, the colors, and you are going to buy 2 or 3 items. And the examiner will play the part of the sales assistant. So, as you can see, with the numbers, with situations in the shop, you can do that. I'm just going to go through some basic French that you must know for A1. Je voudrais, I would like. Il y a, there is, there are. C'est, it is. Voilà, here is or here are. Un peu, a little. Beaucoup, a lot. Et, and. Ou, or. Alors, so. Je peux, I can. Je dois, I have to. What are the resources? Well, to prepare for this exam, I would advise you to look at past papers. I have put this website link in the description box, and this is France Éducation Internationale's website. You can also buy a book, which is a DELF A1 book, any DELF A1 book. Okay, I'm going to show you what they look like. I'm familiar with those books. I don't receive any commission for showing you this. It's just to give you an idea. As you can see, there's a CD, which is good for developing your listening skills. And these books provide you with exercises, and the answers are separate, so you can practice for this. And I find them very, very useful. I would also advise you to attend some classes. It's always good to compare yourself with the others, and you will know if you are ready. I would also welcome any comment so that you can tell me if the content for A1 is what you had in mind. How do you find this level if you have just started French? Well, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe. Au revoir!